Hey guys, welcome back to Jack on Tracks. And in this episode, we're going to be putting in these signals. Basically, what I did was I marked them in line with the last tie over here. I laid them in, spaced them one full space out. You saw a quick thing on how we made these. And so basically what I did with these is instead of having the resistor on the negative sides of these poles, it's actually on the positive side of the pole. Yep, that's what I did. So the power feeding in actually has the resistor on it. I've done this before on one or two other things, and it worked fine. So I'm not really concerned about that. All right, so I'm going to try to drill a series of holes in here and kind of get them to line up so I can drop this in. If I can't do it with one, with a couple of small holes, I'm just going to go with a bigger hole. I actually want to put this on top of a piece of styrene, so I'm going to cut some styrene out anyway, and we'll figure this out. So give me a second, and we'll get everything ready to go. I cut out these little plates. We'll come back in when everything's all done, and we'll paint them up. All right, guys. So what we're doing is we're putting a little thin CA on the bottom of these and putting these down onto the foam. And basically, what that's doing is it's letting the CA soak into the foam. I have no belief that this is actually going to be sticking when I actually start working with it. They're going to pop up. But once that CA gets in there and it hardens up, I can glue to it again. So that's basically what I've been finding works good with the foam. Like I said, drop right on there, it soaks right in. So now this is hardened up a little bit. No, not even. Put a little accelerator on there. Usually gets it to harden up a little. Usually what happens is I come in here and I hit it with the accelerator. All right, that's hardening up. And then we come in with the thick stuff. Some guys use baking soda as a kicker. It's a pretty good idea. It actually works also really good as a filler. So that's pretty much dried up. So what we're doing is I'm skipping the little holes. I'm going right with the big hole because it just when I looked at it a little bit more, it just didn't make sense to do it that way. Turns out that this is actually the thickness it needs to be. So that's what we're going to draw. I already looked underneath. I got nothing under there. The switches are all back here and back here. So that covers that. I just chewed that up. All right, so we go the old reverse technique. When in doubt, back it out. Go backwards, and it cuts through that quicker. All right, so these are going to slide in here. They're going to be basically like that, and then we'll come in here. We're going to paint these a little concrete So that's what we'll have. All right, let me do these and I'll redo that other one. We're gonna go over to the bench and we're gonna solder on leads to all these. All right, guys. So here we are back at the table. I got the 4 connections I need cut, the colors cut. I did the resistor on the positive side. I've done this before and it's worked, so we're going with it because it's just easier than putting three resistors on here. All right, red, yellow, which you really can't see, and then green. It's the same on all 4 of them. That's the way we wired them up. All right, so let's get in here. All right, so just keeping with the DCC thought of mine, blue is going to be my common wire, and I'm doing that just for ease. Just red's going to be the red, yellow is going to be the yellow, and green's going to be the green. So I need a color. So blue is the common, so that's what I'm going to use it as. Each one is about 8 inches long, and pretty sure that I got enough. That'll give me enough. If not, I'm gonna smack myself in the head. But it should be enough to get to where I gotta get. This is 22 AG wire. I don't know. I ordered 20 to red and black to replace wire that I ran out of, and they sent me 22. I don't know why. I think they just picked it wrong, but whatever. I kept it. I used it. I'm using it. I mean, I probably could have did this with the 30 that I have, but I feel like wasting 30. All right, so we're going to. We got the 3 here. I'm liking this chip quick solder. Much better than other ones I've been having. I don't know. They just been really not performing the way I like them to. As you guys probably have known, seen some of my other videos, I've pretty much switched completely to chip quick. Everything I use is chip quick. My solder, my flux, it's all pretty much chip quick. I prefer the liquid flux over the paste, but sometimes you just got to use what you got to use. All right, there's that. We're going to slide. We'll wind up putting some shrink wrap over that. So I'm just going to show you how to get this, how I'm doing them. You don't really need to watch me do all of them. So that's basically it. That's basically what you're looking at here. That's basically it. So we're going to go do the other 3 of these, and then we'll go back onto the bench and get these wired in. All right, guys, be right back. All right, guys, so here we are back at this, back at the bench again. So I replaced that, and you saw how we wired these up. I got the other 3 done. So the beautiful thing about this is that this base is made out of plastic. So I can bond this down. With my favorite adhesive. I'll hold that one in place for a second. There we go. Now, once we get these in place, we should have this figured out pretty good. For some reason, I got a feeling I didn't make these long enough. Who knows? We'll find out in a second, won't we? We'll come in here and we'll touch up these pads with some concrete, and then when we do all the ballast work and stuff around there, everything will blend in. You're not going to see anything. That's that. That's how you get those in. All right, guys, just give me a second. We're going to clean up, and then we're going to turn this over and start doing the wiring. All right, guys, so we're back, and I'm not going to have a problem except for the blue wire. The blue wire is a little short. That's not really going to be too big of a deal because I'm going to put a junction block here, and I'm going to splice into these lines over here. I'm going to do a double because I have to run 2 powers. I have to get power from here, and then I got to run 2 ground wires up on the here to complete the circuit. So this isn't like a big, oh my God type moment. More of a, oh, what was I thinking? So I should have just went a lot longer on that, and I didn't. So let's get going. So there go there, and then I gotta run blacks up into here. So we're gonna need to get the transformer over here and find out which one of these. I believe that's going to be the ground. Pretty sure that's the way that works. That's going to be the ground, and then we just got to figure out which way they're going to be sitting. All right. I did mess up. I'm going to have to extend these wires. I screwed up. These wires should have been at least 2 feet long. So the red and the blues should have been much longer. The green and the yellows are just going right to here. This is coming over to here. So actually this one's coming over to here, and then that one's going over there. They're crossing over. They should have been much longer. My bad. So we'll figure that out. It's too late. They're shrink wrapped. They're heat shrinked. So they're done. So right now everything should be showing green up there. All right. So the one that I said is green. The ground is the ground. Let me get the wire. Yeah, with these wellers, you got to pull that off every once in a while and clean that tip off on the inside. that. So the yellow is gonna get hooked to this red. All right, yeah. Yep, that's the way it's going. The red should have been about twice as long as they were. So, my mistake. All right, guys. So basically, what's going to happen here is this red and this yellow are going to get tied together, and this yellow and this red are going to get tied together onto this board, and this red is going to get lengthened and tied into this one onto this board. All right. So basically, when you're crossing over from this switch to this switch on this way, this is showing red, this is showing yellow. All right. And then this is going to get connected the same way over here. So they're going to show that each unit is the proper color. All right. So I'm just going to go and do this, and I'll turn the camera back on when I'm finished. All right, guys. So here we are back, and basically what we did was we got everything wired in. I rewired in. I lengthened out these red wires, put a nice shrink wrap on them, heat shrink on it, so they're nice and clean looking. We're gonna tie those in and get those cleaned up, and so we can get moving a little more on here. It would have been too much for me to figure out how to get all the good camera angles for this. That's why I did it. I took some pictures of these connections over here. They all came out pretty decent. Everything looks pretty decent on that. Over here, we don't really need to tie these up. These are looking pretty good. Over here, it looks messy, but it's not. It just happens to be that there's a lot going on over here. So you see a lot going on over here. But everything is pretty neat. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So all that's done. I have the transformer wired in just for now with some clips on the bottom to run power to the switches and the circuits and the signals. All right. So a little oversight on my part was that when both these switches are both turned, if you're going to go left to right and right to left, track 1 to track 2 and track 2 to track 1, everything goes red, which is fine. That just means all the switches are thrown. All right, so we're going to flip this over in a second, and we're going to show you how everything's looking. I know from your side you really can't see it that well, but these are lit and lit pretty good. Let me just see if I can find something here real quick. Oh, I got a piece of paper. That should work a little bit for now. All right, you can see that you got green light shining on there. So they are switching. Can't really tell, but the red's lit. Orange is lit on this one. Red's lit on that one. Red on here, orange on there. So they are working. And what I'll do is I'll get you off of there and I'll get you on here so you can see them switch over. Like I said before, the only thing I didn't think of was that when they're both switched, they're all red. Except for that one, which is kind of orange red. That's probably just the way the LED is. All right, so yeah. Let me get you off of there and get you on here, and you can take a look at this. All right, everything is normal. straight through, switched over, orange and red. Orange and red. Go back to normal. Going the other way, crossing from here to there. That's really it. Then, like I said, if you flick them all on, you get red across the board. So that's the only thing. No really way I can get around that. All right, guys. So you saw that the signals are working. They're in pretty good. I mean, they're pretty solid. And I'm happy with that. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put in these ties that are missing, and I'll be done. The next time you see this module, it's going to be for ballast. We do ballasting. I do not like to ballast the switches until after they've run a few times. I did that with my hot tracks, and it paid off because I had a small problem. And if they were ballasted, I wouldn't have been able to do the fix with them ballasted. So that worked for that. I did it with my end tracks, even though I use commercial tracks, commercial switches with that, not hand laid like in the hot tracks. It paid off. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to ballast everything on here except for this switch area. That area will get done after a couple of shows. The same on the other two end modules. Yeah, that's really it for this episode. You know, like I said, when these are normal, they're green. When you're crossing over one way or the other, they'll show you orange to orange, and these will be red because you can't cross through. When they're all flicked, they all go to red. I don't know how to get around that. So that's just that. So we'll deal with that. You know, red's red just means you're crossing over, you're not staying on the track you're on. You just have to correct yourself with the switches over here till you get yourself to green. All right. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I'll put the pictures up of the wiring in the you should have seen those in the video already. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching Jack on Tracks. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. I think the day that this was done, we were at 475, which is awesome. Because like I said, I want to break 500 by the time I go in for surgery. And that'd be awesome. And I really do appreciate you guys putting up with my nonsense. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you later.